Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, and I'm propping my iPad up here, my one good iPad. Now we'll broadcast through that, and I'll do the notes off my phone. I tried to do a broadcast early, and it didn't work. It didn't go through. Uh, um, Let me just see what I got here. I don't know if I got anything important. Wait a second. Give me a second. 1 second. Okay. Let me get the live stream up on my YouTube here. Make sure it's on the air. I don't see it. I gotta go to work on this. Hold on. Let's see. It appears to be on. Let me check. All right. It's working. Okay, so
chain देखो, very beautiful color नहीं.
There's a scripture. Well, so I got the live stream. I'm not putting posts up in the chat. I've got them in the description box. If you're gonna send any money, please try to use PayPal. It's in the description box down towards the bottom, and my email address is at the bottom of the description box. The Patreon, the GoFundMe, you'll find there's no problem, but it's so much quicker for me to get the money into Israel using PayPal. So please use the PayPal, okay? On the equipment front, I was going to get an iPad, and then I researched it deeper, and I found out that their microphones are no good unless you get the really good iPads, the iPad Pros, which is what I've been using in the past, but they're rather expensive. So now I got rerouted to a Samsung tablet that they say is just as good. It's quite a bit cheaper. I can actually get one shipped here from overseas, and even with the taxes and everything, it's still going to be cheap. So I need more funds to do that, I believe. So I'm keep asking and waiting for people to send more funds. I did buy a new phone. This phone that I was using for the broadcast is 5 or 6 years old. It's a Galaxy Note 9, and the new ones are up to 25. So this thing is historic. It doesn't update anymore, and I believe it doesn't update, quite sure. So, and it's on the blink. I can't keep a charge cable in it. I gotta use a wireless, and it cuts off and on the internet. It's a problem, okay? So maybe that's because I might be working away from the house in the near future, and I can possibly, all things being allowed by Jehovah, I could do live streams from various locations. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Maybe. So I invested in that. It was not cheap. It was expensive, and it's a darn good phone. It's got good cameras, good microphones, good this, good that. So if I have to run just on the phone, I'll run just on the phone, okay? I don't know what I'll do for notes. I'll figure something out, okay? I invested some money in trying to revive the old MacBook. That's 3 or 4 years old, I guess, something like that. My wife tried using it and said it didn't update, but I got some things for it, and I think I might be able to revive it, so I put some money in that. So if you want things to get back to normal with the good equipment, I'm going to need some help, okay? So if we got to run with just the phone, I guess we'll run with just the phone, and I don't know what I'll do for notes. The working iPad, every time I plug it in, it's telling me there's liquid in the cable. No matter which cable I use, it's telling me I have liquid in the cable, and then you can hit dismiss and continue. So it's malfunctioning too. So that's another reason I don't want to get any more iPads. They're a problem with the electrical systems. It's just, it's silly to go back to iPads. Samsung is a better way to go. So what do they call it? The S10 or something like that. So I'm still waiting to see if we get more funds, and then I'll make some sort of a decision what exactly that'll be. Yet it remains to be seen. All right, let me do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. On the supermarket thing, I got a credit and I got the new delivery. Everything is okay. I'm restored to them, and things are working fine. I was going to get an iPad from them, but I found out that you can't get the lower price iPads if you want to do Livestream because the microphones are junk. No. And we had a lot of trouble with the earlier iPads I had going back several years. People kept saying they couldn't hear it, and big trouble. And they don't put a USB cable in these iPads unless you get the real high-end one. And then it has it, but the ones I have don't have a USB insert, so you'd have to use some sort of Bluetooth thing. And I went through that and tried that a few years ago. It was just trouble all the way across the board. Let me go back
Very
in
beautiful color.
live stream and see what's going on. I got to get rid of. Oh, I think I got it straight there. Let's try again. All right, appears we got people in here. I was doubtful about that. All right, so let's talk about the next Exodus. It's very hard using the phone. All right, I got a Bible program here that's actually pretty good. It has word meanings, Strong's anyway, and I just got to figure out where it is. I got 3 or 4 pages of icons on this thing, but it's here somewhere, I know that. I don't have the Bixby turned on, that voice thing that opens your apps. And I don't even know, whoops, I think I just found it. All should work. Hang on, I'll get us there. And all right. So we're in Jeremiah 50, verse 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as the he-goats before the flocks. For lo, I will raise and cause to come against Babel an assembly of great nations from the north country. They shall set themselves in array against her. From hence she shall be taken. Their arrows, those are missiles. An arrow is a flying projectile. That's what that's what a missile is. You use a bow to launch an arrow, and you use a missile launcher to launch a missile. So the missile launchers are the bows. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Okay. So here it just says, remove out of the midst of Babylon, of the Star-Spangled Banner, and just go out from the middle. I mean, leave it. So you do have a scripture here that tells you to just get out before the bad stuff starts happening. Okay? So yeah, I guess I believe the Lord had me look this up this morning and get this down to broadcast it. So it sort of goes a little bit differently than what I said yesterday, but let me explain more. You got to be careful with this. You'd be coming to Israel in a time of a lot of terrorism and a lot of, not that much right now actually, but a lot of wars, multi-front wars, and it looks like it's going to be climbing. The government is also in turmoil. You got to be careful about this, okay? But it does leave the door open here, I think, for people to come now. The great exodus is going to begin. The trumpet will be blown, Yeshua will appear in the clouds, everlasting life, and then it's going to be a massive exodus. But does this leave room for some of you to come before? I would think it does. But you got to look at your finances. It's not cheap living here, and we don't know when the 2/3 will be gone, and then there'll be lots of houses to move into, but that's not today. Okay? Using the buses for newcomers in Israel without any Hebrew language skills is very difficult at best. Unless you take an express bus, say from Tiberias to Haifa or to Jerusalem or Tel Aviv or something, then it's a pretty easy way to do it. And you'll have to figure out where to get off in Jerusalem, or, all right? You need to rent a place that's furnished. Your best bet would probably be to talk to Airbnb people who are having a rough time of renting their place, because tourism is down by at least 90-95%. So you would have to strike a deal with them for the monthly thing. And if you're from Europe, Canada, America, and most of the big countries, you'll get 90 days at the airport. Now, you could extend it, and they also may not extend it. And you could also leave for a reasonable period of time, like 10 days or 2 weeks, and then come back. And they might say, "Why'd you come back?" Or they might say nothing because tourism is down. We don't know. We don't know. Okay? So, yeah, I would say if you really wanted to, you could, but you got to look at all the balances. How are you going to be in the war? Here in Red Alerts, planes in the sky, missiles being taken down and exploding, missiles exploding. We had hits, missiles exploding on the ground. You hear it, you feel it. When the big bombs go off in Syria, where I am, it shakes the doors and the windows. How are you going to adjust to that? You got to make sure you're okay with this. Okay? I've never gone in the bomb shelter, but most people do. If you get by on a rental for $1,500 a month with furniture and utilities, you did good. It might be $2,000. Okay, our rental apartment is 2 bedrooms, 700 square feet. It has a kitchen. You know, I went through this yesterday, and we get $150, $200 a day for it when tourism is running. Okay, usually depending on how many people are in there, but we have a very, very nice place. And we let people use the organic garden where there's tons of stuff they can pick and eat. And they got the birds to entertain them that talk. Okay. And, you know, so look, I'll help. If I don't know you well, you can send me an email. If you send me a message that says, "Oh, I've been watching you for 7 years or 2 years," and, you know, and I don't know who you are, sorry. There's too many Satan bots that try to work me. I have to know you. Okay, calling me up and saying you're introducing yourself to me, if you want information about Israel, I can give you information about Israel via an email. I don't mind doing that, okay? But I'm not going to, you know, say, "Oh yeah, you can come, you know, rent my guest house." I don't know who the heck you are. And you show up and you say, "Well, we're waiting for the rapture. I know you don't believe in the rapture, but we do. And we believe the church is going to go up to heaven and come down and reign as gods over Israel." You know, now I got this person living in my house, right? Now I got to break fellowship with this person because this person's off in the deep end, right? Probably a Satan bot trying to get me to give place to the devil, like having fellowship with this person while they follow another gospel and another Jesus, 2 Corinthians 11:4. No. So if I don't know who the people are, I mean, you could come to Israel, but leave me out of it, okay? If you want to ask me your questions, stuff like that, you might be able to find a place in this outfit called King's Tower in Tiberias. King's Tower in Tiberias, you'll have to look it up. The manager used to be called Yitzhak. They're 440 square foot apartments. I think I covered this yesterday. They're small, they're located well in Tiberias. You can get buses easily from Tiberias to the big cities. There's all the food, the banks, the stores, everything within a walking distance, but not a short walking distance, at least 3 or 4 blocks to get into the city center. And then if you want to go to the Shuk, the open air market, it's going to be 8 or 9 blocks. And the supermarkets are too far away. It would be almost a mile to get to the supermarket, or maybe a mile. But the Shuk is cheaper and better and fresher. You don't want the supermarket. Now there's small mini markets that are about 4 or 5 blocks from King's Tower that have quite a good amount of food, and there's a lot of cheap places to eat in Tiberias, but what are you going to eat? Falafel, pizza, that's cheap. Okay? If you want to start eating meat and more substantial stuff, it's going to cost you. A meal easily will cost you $30. McDonald's, if you go to McDonald's and you get a big hamburger with the cheese and fries and a drink, it's going to cost you $25. It's very expensive here. Okay? You need currency converters. We're on 220, so you need to step up or step down. So you want to make American 110 current into to run off of 220. So you plug your converter into the wall here, and you plug your 110 volt appliances into the converter. They're not that expensive, 50, 60 bucks. Amazon has them. You want to be able to run a 110 volt appliance in a 220 volt country. For Europe, we have the 2 round plugs in Israel. The UK, the big, bulky, squarish, rectangular shaped plugs, you'd have to change. The currency's the same as the UK, the electricity, but the plug is a problem. So you could get plug converters where you just plug it on the UK plug, and it has the 2 round prongs. It's an EU plug, is what we use here. Some of ours have a grounding, so they have 3. Okay. If some of you that I know, and I mean that I know, I really know, you don't have to explain to me why I should remember you. I gotta really know you. There's too many Satan bots that have pulled this, okay? We have the guest house. My wife's not here. Would need moving around and, moving things out and getting a little organization, but it has a kitchen, which has a 5-foot-high refrigerator. It has a very good convection oven to cook with. It's an excellent device. It has a small but adequate microwave. It has a 2-burner electric hot plate, because we don't want to have gas in there and somebody is negligent and they fall asleep and burn the place down. You're not going to burn anything down with the hot plate. It has a thermostat. It turns itself off, It has a sink, a lot of cabinets, and a full refrigerator, small but full refrigerator. It has a breakfast bar with beautiful wood. It has 2 bedrooms. They have fantastic orthopedic mattresses, big ones. I think they're queens and kings. They're excellent mattresses. Very nice furniture. And it has a large screen TV, like, 45, 50-inch TV, or it's maybe even bigger. It's a good size TV. It has 3 air conditioners in there, 1 for each bedroom and 1 for the living room. It connects to the house, but we have a locking door, and then it connects to the patio where the birds have their aviary, and it's about 25 feet long and 10, 15 feet wide on the roof, so you can sit out there when it's raining, when it's hot, or whatever. We have excellent Wi-Fi, very fast Wi-Fi, really fast. Maybe better than what you have in Europe or America, but it's very fast. And then there's our yard, and we have 30 or so fruit-producing things growing. You can pick organic fruit. Right now we're getting pomelos, and I don't know what else, but we get papaya, we get mangoes. We have a huge old olive tree. There's an old 1948 bomb shelter in the back near the rental house, if you're so inclined. The bomb shelters work to stop shrapnel. They don't work to stop a direct hit of a 150, 200 pound bomb. That's going to be, well, maybe 100, or but if you're getting a big 250 pound bomb, the bomb shelter is going to go. There's only so much. It stops Katyusha rockets and things like that. Last time we had people staying here, roughly a year ago, they cleaned it out and set it up to make it habitable. I haven't been in it since then, but it's probably reasonably decent shape. So you want to put something in there to sit on, and maybe a few bottles of water in there. Usually you're only in it for 15 minutes, or if it was a massive attack, you might be in it for 2 or 3 hours. And then I have another bomb shelter on the other side of the house in the front, but that would be, you'd have to have a good amount of warning to get to that, and that's a more modern bomb shelter with a metal door and stuff like that. But like I say, I haven't used it, but it should be set up for use, but I don't pay attention to that. We got front yards, we got backyards, we got side yards. Next door to us, there's a huge olive grove tree, an olive grove with, 15, 20 big olive trees. And we have one in our property that's huge. So if the timing's right, you could, pick olives. There's a mini market. It's a gourmet small supermarket. They speak English. They usually take foreign credit cards. They have a little bit of meat, like hamburgers and steaks. They have a good amount of cheese, a lot of yogurts, a lot of juices. I'm thinking. Sodas, they sell beer and liquor, and they have fresh fruits every day. The luck of the draw, but they always have several fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits. They have usually 15 or 20 or at least 10 different kinds of breads to pick from. They have 2 big freezer compartments full of ice cream and ices. They do sell Ben & Jerry or Haagen-Dazs or both from time to time. So that's real ice cream. The other stuff in Israel made by Nestle, it doesn't really melt. It's like polyurethane ice cream or something. It's pure trash. And they fill it with candy like Oreo cookies. It's just garbage. The Haagen-Dazs and the Ben & Jerry are real ice cream. Then they have canned vegetables, canned pickles, canned olives. They usually have about 10 or 12 breakfast cereals. They have lots of nuts. Israelis like nuts. Lots of chocolates and candies. Cleaning supplies, paper plates and dishes and plastic silverware and toilet paper and paper towels and cleaning stuff and all of that. So you could, they have eggs. So you could, it's about a 200-yard walk. So you could go there and get pretty much what you want, to eat. Okay? You could actually live on just shopping there if you wanted to. You could. Oh, they have peanut butter and cream cheese and different jams and jellies, ketchups, mustards, hot sauces, and it's adequate to say the least. And the prices aren't that bad. They're a little bit more than the supermarket, not a lot. It's not bad at all. It really isn't bad. It really is okay. For delivery, you would probably need my help, but you could get sushi from different sources delivered, and sashimi, some Thai food, and some Chinese food. The Chinese food is not like what you're going to get in Europe or North America. It's a lot sweeter, but it's tasty and good. And there's a place that delivers, and they're really good. They're really expensive too. But everything's expensive here, but they're really pretty good. Okay? And you can get hamburgers and chili Philly cheesesteak stuff delivered. And there's a pizza. There's two pizza guys in the village. About 3,500 people live in the village. It's patrolled by, I don't know, let's call it a militia, ex-police and military people that patrol the community constantly. They have assault weapons, radios to the police, radios to the military, and very close to me. And they're very close to everybody in the village, and they're always patrolling. So the crime here is like, leave your doors open, you don't have a problem. That kind of crime rate. Okay, it's like no crime. If you had a mink coat and you left it outside on a chair in our yard and somebody walked by and saw it, maybe some kid or something might try to climb the fence or something like that. There's an extremely tiny Arab population in the community. I mean, it's minuscule. There's a pizza guy by the grocery store that is so-so pizza. I don't care for it. People eat there. They go there a lot. And then there's another one at the edge, the outskirts of the village. You have to like cross a road, a dangerous road to get. It's really for delivery or if you have a car. And their pizza is superb. It's dead on Sicilian thin crust pizza, just like what you would have in a big city like New York. It's fantastic, and it's reasonably priced if you like pizza. That's not really healthy food, you know. They won't put meat on the pizza because of the kosher law, but you could order it with olives, onions, corn, kernels of corn. I don't care for that. Mushrooms. That's about it, you know. And so you can get food deliveries. Renting a car is going to be about what it's like in America or Europe, maybe 10-15% higher, maybe not. I don't know. You would probably want to rent a Fiat 500, these little Fiats. They're real good. They're real small and they're real good. And they're not that bad. They're like American rental prices, but a little higher probably. Not a lot higher. What else can you get? I have a supermarket that delivers. They wouldn't work with you because you're not a citizen, but they would with me. So we could build an order and I could charge it in my account and they would bring it to the house and you could have, so you can get steaks and hamburgers and hot dogs and it's all kosher food. Fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, dried fruit, nuts, packaged goods, anything you want. You know, I mean, it's a massive assortment of food. Massive, I mean, huge. Huge, you know. So you could get a delivery and then build it up like that. So if you're interested in that as a jumping off point to find a place to live, you know, I could work with you on that, but I gotta know you or no way. Not a chance. You're not talking me into it. Not a prayer. Okay? Living on the property in intent, no. That's gonna incite the community. We can't do that. That's, you just, no, that won't work. Okay? What else? I can't pick you up at the airport or anything. I don't drive anymore. So you'd have to make it yourself. I would suggest you don't get off a plane with jet lag and try the buses or the trains. That's a really, really bad idea. Take a taxi, and they have SUV taxis. There's plenty of them. I think you're looking at $125, $150 to get up here by taxi. It's 2.5 hour ride. Normally could be 3 hours, and it could be an hour and a half in the middle of the night, but it's going to be about that much money. It's not cheap. Okay, gas is $9 a gallon here. It's not that cheap. All right, the same with getting back to the airport. All right, if you try getting around on the buses here, you're going to have difficulty to a very high extent. The only way I would suggest you use the buses is, now there might be an app now. I think there is an app to use the buses, and it might work in English, so you might be able to get by, but you're going to still be struggling. If you can go right outside the house and grab a bus to Tiberias, and in Tiberias there's a big bus station, but you're not going to know where to get off in Tiberias. But anyway, you could take a taxi for not that much money, call a taxi to the house, have them take you to the bus station, and they'll talk English to you, and then buy a ticket on an express bus from the Tiberias station to Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or wherever you want to go in Israel, Eilat, or whatever. You just get on the bus, and then the question is, well, you're in Jerusalem, which stop in Jerusalem do you get off at? You know, it's a problem, you know. I'm thinking, let me take a quick break, and I'll come up with some more ideas, I'm sure. Oh, we also have a very good outside grill. It runs on propane gas. And if I know you guys and you're going to clean up and take care of it, we can get into using the grill. It's really a good one. It came from Germany. In the back, well, where the guest house opens up to the patio, there's a lot of sofas out there on the roof and chairs. We could seat at least 15 or 20 people out there, you know. So that could be a jumping off point. There's 2 bedrooms. One's a queen bed and one is a king, I believe. And I have a cot someplace, but it's a rinky-dink cot just for children. So it would really be for, you know, 2 couples, one couple in each bedroom, or 2 people, one in each bedroom, whatever, something like that. That's it. So if you're interested, let me know. We could work something out, I'm sure. Let me go into the live stream, and I gotta close this and it doesn't want to close, so this must be a way to close it. Why doesn't it want to close? There we go. I got it closed. It's really hard for me to do these things without the devices. I want to check the chat. I don't know, the chat's not coming up. We'll just leave the chat. So if you want to have a voice conversation with me and I know who you are, now I gotta shut this again. And I know who you are. You can write me. My email is in the description box, the last line down. It's Israel Giving with the number 7. Israel Giving, one word with the digit 7 at gmail.com. And then I could work with you. I have an American phone number through Skype, so it would just be an American phone call to you. And I also have WhatsApp, but I'm not going to give out WhatsApp unless I really, really know you. The Skype number I'm not that worried about, but the WhatsApp, I got to know who the heck you are. Okay? What else? That's it. So Turkey is getting some land from Syria in central Syria. Okay? And we don't know how much, but a good piece, and it's going to contain the city of Homs, H-O-M-S. And they're in the latter stages of their negotiation, and Israel is very concerned, and they had a meeting of the Security Cabinet last night, or yesterday in the afternoon. I think it was the evening, I'm not sure. And they're discussing the problem with Turkey, and they're telling us that Israel may be fighting Turkey inside Syria. We yesterday, I think, bombed a military airport left behind by Bashar Assad right by the border between Syria and Turkey. Okay? And that's because we don't want Turkey moving in there. So if Turkey gets central Syria, they'll probably put an airport up someplace and they'll start flying in weapons and, come with tanks and all that stuff. Central Syria is a good distance away from Turkey, but they could drive tanks and stuff through. Israel probably has no intention of letting Turkey set up in Syria with missiles to launch at us and jets and tanks. Okay? Trump refused to sell F-35s to Turkey, saying they were a security risk. So Trump is not comfortable with Turkey, even though they're all in NATO. Trump would probably back Israel. Trump has his bases in Syria, where the oil fields are in northeast Syria, and he's benefiting the American-friendly oil companies by letting them get at that oil, and Turkey would probably try to get him out of there. Now, they haven't finalized the deal, but Israel is getting rather concerned. Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, said that he has no intentions of negotiating with Trump. He's threatening Trump, and that has not stopped. In the Daughter of Babylon scriptures, Jeremiah 50:51, we read of the great country from the north, and that country is Assyria, not Syria, Assyria, A-S-S-Y-R-I-A, which is composed of pieces of Iran, In the old days, it had pieces of what we now call Iran today, Kuwait, I assume Bahrain, Qatar, UAE. I would also assume Oman, and I think Saudi Arabia and Syria. So if Iran is knocked off before the attack on the daughter of Babylon, and these other countries come to attack America, well, then it's still got the validity of the scripture. But there's a lot of ways to deal with this. It's a lot of moving pieces. Iran knows that Trump is moving lots of warships, including several aircraft carriers, into the Middle East during the month of April. And that to hit the Houthis. Yesterday, Trump in a speech said the Houthis are already weakened or destroyed or disabled, to use very strong language. But he's wrong. They're still launching at Israel. They're launching at him at the Red Sea, the ships in the Red Sea. They were firing all kinds of stuff last night at him. Did they damage or destroy any? We don't know. America wouldn't tell you. We did get reports there were explosions in the Red Sea, but that's meaningless. Why? Because drones and missiles could have been taken down by American jets and American anti-aircraft missiles and anti-missile missiles, and there would be explosions in the Red Sea. You get what I mean? Now there's a new development. The Houthis in Yemen are shooting anti-aircraft missiles at American jets attacking Yemen. Now, they didn't take any down, and I don't know if they will, but this creates more stress and tension on the American pilots. They have to be very careful. So Trump did kill a handful of Houthi leaders located in West Yemen, that's for sure. But he didn't get them all, and there's a lot of bombing yet to come. They have not been deactivated. Nobody in the Middle East is saying that. Okay? Trump's going to probably have 50 warships here during the month, by sometime in April. 50. Easy. Maybe more. Plus, he probably has 100 or 200 aircraft here. There's 58,000 troops in the Middle East. They have various bases. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE. Gee, that's the old Syria, right? They're in Iraq a little bit. They're in Syria quite a bit. They're in Jordan quite a bit. They're in Saudi Arabia. I don't think they're in Oman. They're not in Lebanon. And the amount they have in Israel is maybe 20, 40, 50, 60, 80 guys with technical advising, with Patriot anti-missile system, things like that. They don't have anything yet. I don't know anybody, nor have I ever seen any American troops walking around in Israel. Now, they would dress as civilians if they were walking around. You wouldn't know who they are, but there's so few of them. So there's a lot of troops at risk if this place blows up. And Trump has, I think, 7 bases in Syria that he's concerned with. Okay? They're not big bases. They probably have 200, 300 guys on a base, but he doesn't want to lose them. So I would think the war between America or America attacking Iran is pretty cut and dry. Okay? I mean, it's coming. But what you need to ask yourself is Iran going to wait for all these warships to come over there and knock them down? Or are they going to do something to America beforehand, with sleeper agents or otherwise, with North Korea, China, Russia, Belarus, Cuba, Venezuela, some stand countries, or whatever. We don't know. Trump told Egypt that they have to take in, here's the great voice, the hammer of the whole earth, that they have to take in 500 to 700,000 Gazan civilians, or Trump is going to cut off $1 billion in aid to them. Well, what's it going to cost Egypt to support 500,000 or 700,000 Gazan civilians that are pretty much barely capable of doing blue-collar work? There's a high illiteracy rate, what are they going to do with them? They're now talking about voluntary departures from Gaza if they have a second passport. I think somebody's maybe paying for their car fare to go to other countries, but I think like 70 leave, then another 100 leave. I mean, it's a pittance. Witkoff, the negotiator with Hamas, made a public statement that he was wrong about Hamas. They deceived him. They don't want peace. That means bomb, bomb, bomb Gaza. What Israel's doing is blowing up the structures and trying to hurt the tunnels, which they probably are doing. There are a few remaining tunnels. And then the Gazans are going to have the Hamas and the PIJ and the other splinter terrorist groups, which are much smaller than Hamas, are going to have to come out of their holes in the tunnels in the ground and either surrender or confront Israel openly, which is going to be a disaster. What are they going to face? They're going to face tanks, armored personnel carriers, Apache attack helicopters, F-15, F-16, F-35 jets, artillery, mortars, mobile artillery. What are they don't have a chance. Then the idea is to run them out of Gaza, about 20,000 of them, and then the idea is to get the civilians out, but they can't get strong enough to get the civilians out till they get rid of Hamas. So that'll have to precede it, and they will probably get rid of Hamas. Bible prophecy says we will. I don't know if it should be in these days. It could be after redemption. We do fight after redemption. To get our land back that God gave us a promise by covenant in Genesis 15. It's a breach, the covenant. And Jehovah's not a covenant breaker. Okay? One of the courts in America is confiscating the Chinese land, the Chinese-owned land in America that they bought right next to the American big military bases. And they're using it to settle some sort of a debt or a claim somebody's making by suing them for terrorism or something like that. And they intend to take the land and sell it and use the money to settle this claim. And I'm sure they're not going to sell it to foreign nationals. So China knows this is going to take months when you delay it with courts and lawyers. But ultimately they're going to lose their land, so these sleeper agents may decide to act up earlier before they run off that land. But if they run off that land and they don't demolish whatever they built on that land, it'll look very bad for them. What if there are missile factories, drone factories, weapons storage facilities there? anti-tank weapons there, anti-aircraft weapons there, and the Americans find it, would be very bad for China. See my point? So they might do something before, and Iran may do something before. They may not be waiting for Trump's warships to show up. They know Trump's going to do it. See, there is no threatening these people like the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, the Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria. They don't threaten. They respond only to hard force. So if you bomb them, and you keep bombing them and they have nothing left to fight with, well, then they may actually negotiate with you to some extent. But they believe in breaking treaties with their enemies. They don't care about that. I'm going to take a quick break. So, the Middle East is about to go ballistic, believe me, and it may go any day. I can't imagine Iran is stupid enough to wait. You want to come with me? You want to come in the office? Come. Whoa, whoa. Come, Mommy, you can come in. Come. Mommy, come in, come in. Come on, it's okay. Come on, Mommy. You can come in. You can come in. Come on. Chief and Yaffa aren't here anymore. Come on. Come, Mommy, come. She's afraid to come in because it's Chief and Yaffa's territory. She probably still has the odor. Okay, Ukraine and Russia still knocking each other's lights out. The Trump administration is saying, oh, Putin has no intentions of plowing through Europe. How does Trump know that? Putin told him. Poland and Lithuania, I think it's Lithuania, are laying landmines on their borders with Russia because they're afraid of a Russia attack. Russia hit they re-hit a Russian oil refinery yesterday that they hit previously. So Putin probably rebuilt it, and then they hit it again. And they hit a big airport, fire at the airport. So you can't, with events like this, you can't turn around and say, oh, Russia's winning, Russia's got all this power, they can crush you. Like, come on, where is it? Where is it? It's 3 years. Where is it? He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. It's rumored that longer range missiles are going to Ukraine next. I think they'll probably be in the genre of 200 to 300 mile range missiles. I think America, maybe some other European countries. And that's going to mean more oil refineries and natural gas getting hit. One of the pipelines in Russia is exploded in flames, is on fire, and you know what the heck happened? Nobody knows. It's thought that it wasn't a hit. It just something happened. It caught on fire its own. Maybe it was rebuilt badly. I don't know. So don't believe there's no ceasefire coming. Trump is talking about Ukraine's got to give up some territory. That's nice. Get Zelensky to agree to it. Good luck. You know. So America's pretty committed to Israel. Oh, I gotta let the dog out. Give me a second. I think gotta go to the bathroom. All right, I'll let you out. Let's go out. Come on. Come on. The other thing that's worthy of the news is China has built, and it's apparently operational, a cable cutting ship that can cut internet cables from a few thousand feet above the bottom. In other words, floating on the surface. This is rather troubling. And they'll probably build another 2 or 3 of them. And they're probably not very expensive to build. And I think this is to help BRICS. See, BRICS is coming up with a new money transfer system, and it's a digital thing, I believe. But they're also having credit cards, and they want to have a banking payment system thing, and they want their currency backed by assets like gold and corn and wheat and stuff. And I think they're not idiots, and they're not gonna use internet cables to convey the transfer messages from one country to another, because they know about cutting internet cables. Russia's been doing it, China's been doing it, the Houthis did it, the Houthis may do it again. They may cut the cables near Yemen. There's 7 or 9 cables there. It would be rather catastrophic. And I don't know why they wouldn't do it. They're just probably waiting. As Trump continues to obliterate them, they're probably going to consider cutting cables. So if the cables are cut, Russia cut some in the Baltic, the North Sea. China cut some over there, and Iran gets some, and this type of thing. They could interrupt, maybe 50% of the money transfers or more, 60, 70% of the international money transfers, and cripple the American dollar being used to buy, corn, wheat, oil, natural gas, and a million other things. It would mess up the stock markets. Markets would probably close. Internet would be off. International ATM transactions would probably die. Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly what would happen. And then BRICS emerges with their money transfer system using heavy encryption with radio transfer. In other words, they send everything by wireless in the air. And there's ways it could be done with heavy encryption. Like they could have passwords that change every 10 minutes. So if somebody intercepts the wireless transmission and they have to crack it and get the password out and then act with that password in a window of 10 minutes. But I don't think it would work because they would set it up that password is only usable one time. So even then they wouldn't get it. It's not that difficult to do. And then they cut the cables. Trump is setting up a digital currency for America for sure. And he'll probably go to radio transmission like what I just described. Now, what kind of device would you use? You would probably have a wire-based system where you would use, without crossing oceans, use your internet or your telephones in your country to access a hub where they have, a 1,000-foot antenna or something like that, right? And then your signal would be sent from that radio tower, and it would be picked up by another radio tower, and then it would be transmitted on the ground via wire within the country to take action, something like that. And it's not that hard to do. You have to give the people a device that changes the passwords every few minutes, and these devices exist. Okay? They do exist. They've had these things for a long time. You get a little device and you press it. It's battery powered. You press it and you get a password, right? Okay. And then that password's good for so many minutes and it expires and it's one use only. You just solved it. Now, what about they just try to go in and hack the password? Well, if you have, maybe 5 or 10 attempts at the password that fail, it's blocked out or something like that. But these are not going to be 6-digit passwords. They'll probably be 20, 30 digits with alphanumeric, with capital and small letters with various question marks and hyphens and periods. And something like that could even be 40 or 50 characters or 100 characters. And, something like that, even with super high-speed computers, isn't going to be so easy to get done in 5 minutes. I don't know exactly how they would do it, but it could be done. The military sends emergency action messages. These people on the websites, on social media, play these emergency action messages, and hundreds of thousands of people like to sit and listen to them. I don't know why, but they do. You don't know what they mean or what they're saying, but they like to listen to them. It makes them feel like they're prepared. Prepared for what? Many states in America now have fires. There's about 6 states. I will kindle fires in and about your cities. That's in Jeremiah 50:51. It's in play. I'm watching for more of the continuing whirlwind of the Lord, which is storms. Let's watch that. All the end time signs are moving fast now. Moving fast. There's concerns about China's movements with Taiwan and North and South Korea, of course. Trump is saying he's definitely getting the Panama Canal back one way or another. That's probably going to cause problems in Central and South America. He's got a second warship floating around the waters near Mexico and America, the border area, to stop drugs moving in. So when the border got tightened down, they probably started using different boats to launch from northern part of Mexico and enter American water and come in the southern part of America, or remote beaches or whatever they're doing, you know. So they got warships watching for that now. Which is going to make the cartels more and more uncomfortable. China's got a lot of economic problems, and economic problems is a pretty good, you know, trigger for war. April 2nd, the sanctions are going to start, and Trump is definitely heavy-handed on the sanctions. I know who you are. You can write me. There's a lot of people rising up against Tesla cars and stuff like that. I don't know what's with this Tesla stuff. If you go to social media, look up Tesla Pi phone. There's a gazillion videos on social media that show you this thing, and they talk like you can go down to your store and buy it today. You may not even be able to buy this in 2025. So he's creating all these fantastic devices, right? And you see prototypes, but you can't buy them. He created one now called the Tesla Pi tablet. Go try to find one. Nobody's selling them. These are people that play games with social media, and they make you think you can go to the store and buy one, and why you should buy it with all its features and benefits. And the thing's nowhere to be found. You can't get it anywhere in the world. What is up with this with Tesla? You see little prefab houses. I think you just kind of snap them. They just kind of snap together. They come on a truck and they snap together to, you know, $7,000-$10,000 depending what you listen to. So somebody has to have a piece of land to put it on, but you don't need a big piece of land. You could probably get a piece of land that's, you know, 50 feet by 25 feet, and put it on there and have a nice little garden and stuff like that, you know. I don't know. You could also rent it from somebody for 5 to 10 years, an acre, and grow stuff on there and live in your little house. Supposedly some little houses prefab are in Israel, but I myself haven't seen anything yet. Israel is not interested in cheap housing. Israel wants only rich Satan bots coming here and that kind of thing. Now, that's going to change any day now, you know. The turmoil in the government is still very, very bad here. Under cover of war, Netanyahu is not just moving against the Shin Bet head, he's moving against the Attorney General. trying to weaken the judiciary part of the democracy, and people are foaming at the mouth in Israel. They're very, very scared and very upset, and it could break into not, you know, neighbor against neighbor. It would be the people against the government. No matter what Netanyahu does, he's getting pressure from different aspects of Israeli society. So he's got big problems. And he won't let go. He won't leave. The only way I think Netanyahu will leave office is if he is no longer alive or people drag him out. And that could happen in Israel. But it's not going to be countryman fighting countryman. I don't ever see that in Israel right now. And the collapse of the government could be to usher in Elijah. And Apostle John, and then the country's run by the two judges. And when Israel's run by judges, they frequently did very, very well. Usually the judges had about a 40-year run. These judges will have about a 70-year run. But towards the end, there'll be a falling away. So if you're thinking it's time for you to get out of Dodge, wherever Dodge is, it could be, I would think you people would be to a very small extent in Asia, some in Europe, and probably at none or a pittance in South and Central America, and mostly America and Canada. I'll try to help you if you want to go, but if you got, you know, very, very tight money, what are you going to do? You can't sleep in the parks here. They'll throw you out of the country. The police will pick you up. You're not going to hide from them. We're a very high security country all the time, but we're on high alert now because of the wars and terrorism. So you can't sleep in the street. That won't work. They'll just pack you up and drive you to the airport and you'll be out of here. That's it. Hotels are expensive. You want to avoid those. A dump rat trap hotel would be $100. Don't book hotels online in a lot of places in Israel, because you're going to inadvertently be putting yourself in a Muslim town, village, or city in a high-risk area, and you're going to be in jeopardy. Don't do that. They have good prices. Yeah, if you happen to be a Muslim and you look like a Muslim and you know the lingo and the jargon, it could work for you. But if you're not a Muslim, don't be falling into that. You could be putting yourself in a very, very hot area, and you could be a desirable hostage one day or a victim. Don't do that. So the decent hotels are probably going to be $140 to $200 a day. And they're tiny rooms. They're smaller than what you see in America. They're very small. Okay? The only thing I know is there's King's Tower in Tiberias. You might get a place for $1,200, maybe $1,500, with full furniture, you know, with bedding and linens and some pots and pans and things like that. Furniture, you know, enough to get by. And the building offers Wi-Fi. It's not that great. It's not that bad either. If you do it in the middle of the day when everybody's out and about, it's pretty good internet. But when everybody's in, like early in the morning and the evening, it's not good. But I haven't been there in 10 years, so maybe it's better. It's a good location. They got cockroaches running around the building. I told you that because people rent them out by the day and the weekends. So they rent it to somebody who wants to come up here for the weekend from another part of Israel. And they stay there, and when they leave their food on the sink, on the counter, in the garbage can. you know, pizza crust, pieces of cookies, candies, you know, whatever they were eating is laying around. So the cockroaches have a feast, and the owners don't often get around to cleaning the place for 2 or 3 days. So the cockroaches come under the door. I stayed there for 3 months, so many years ago. So you want to put towels under the door to keep them out. It helps. You have a small balcony. You're across the street from the Sea of Galilee. There's a free beach just across the street. I'm talking 150, 200 feet. You could go swimming there for free. Swimming in the Sea of Galilee is the pits. The water's not so nice at all, and the bottom is rocks covered with moss, and you slip. And I don't enjoy swimming in the Sea of Galilee one bit, but it's there. It's not a beach. The free places just go off in the water. They have private beaches there, but it's not like an ocean. I don't enjoy it. Okay, you might. You could go to the Dead Sea, but that would be a long trip, a few hours. You could go to the Mediterranean, and that's going to be an hour and a half anyway. It's a lot of beaches, you know, to go there. What else? This is a good time of year now for weather because we're not getting into the heavy heat and we're out of the cold. As of today, I would say we're out of the cold pretty much. Although at night, for the next 2 nights, it'll be cool in the evening, but, you know, like, I think tonight it'll be in the high 40s and tomorrow the low 50s, and then it'll be more like the high 50s at night, which is nice. So you put a jacket on at night if you sit outside or something like that. We have a fire pit in the backyard too. So you could, do we have any firewood? That's $1 million question. I don't know if we have any left. I don't think so. But there's a fire pit anyway. You wouldn't need the fire pit, you know. It's not. You got to make sure your passport has at least 6 months left on it, or they may not let you in. The ATM machines usually will work with European and American cards, you know, debit and Visa cards. You got to make sure it says Visa or MasterCard on it, or you're going to have massive trouble. It has to have Visa or MasterCard on it, or it ain't going to go. There's money changers all over Tiberias. There's about 5 or 6. You walk in with foreign money, euros, pounds, British pounds, Canadian, American, Mexican pesos, Swiss francs, whatever you want to, any popular currency. You walk in, you give them your foreign currency, and they put it in a machine that detects counterfeiting, counts it. That takes 10 seconds. And then they give you the Israeli money. You could check the exchange rate before you enter the transaction. The stores will not take American dollars. Some, not all, some will take American and European credit cards. Okay. The Shuk, the open air market, they're probably not taking any foreign credit cards. They really want cash. That mini supermarket in Tiberias near King's Tower, it will more than likely take foreign credit cards. You can go into some of the banks and get a cash advance. The post office, which is near King's Tower, 4 or 5 block walk, will, as a service, there's a thing called the postal bank, very popular in Europe. Americans don't know from it. So they're a bank also. And you could give them your foreign credit card and they'll swipe it in front of you. You put your PIN in. And if it clears, they'll give you, if you want American dollars, or if you want euros, or if you want shekels, they'll give it to you. Right then and there. They give you a good exchange rate. It's more of a public service than it is something to be a profit center. That can happen too. You can do that. But now I think you need to have a appointment to get into the post office, which means you need to use an app, and the app is in Hebrew. You know, you might be able to go to the security guard there and talk to him in English, maybe, and he'll let you in. You could send Western Union to yourself in Israel. Make yourself a password and all that. So you could send yourself. I wouldn't send a lot. I mean, you could send yourself probably $1,000 or $2,000. That would work. And then you could redeem it at the post office. The post office is the Western Union agent. Or you can try that. Might work. If it's not going to work, they're not going to send the transfer. It's going to refuse to transfer the money. If they transfer it, then it'll work. You just, after the transaction's over, wait a while and then check online and make sure it's waiting. And then you got, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks to pick it up or something like that. You know? I don't know the time limit. You got a reasonable time limit though. That's another way you could put money. But if you're going to try to put $20,000 in, it ain't going to work. Maybe 1 or 2,000, I think. I don't know. You could ask Western Union, they may tell you. I don't know. Writing checks here, nobody's going to take your check. Who's going to take your check? I'm thinking. So I think I made the point. If you're going to try to come here and live on, you know, $1,600 a month or something like that, you're kidding yourself. Okay? I don't know where you're going to stay. You want to move into a hostel, they charge $40, $50 a night, and you sleep in an open bedroom with strangers. So your stuff could get stolen, and you want to live like that? Go ahead, you know. Thinking. So I don't think this is a good move for somebody on an extremely very small tight budget. You'll run out of money. What are you going to do then? What do I really think will happen? You people will be spending $1,500 to $2,000 or $2,500 a month for a place to live. Okay? Then your food bill is gonna, if let's say it's 2 people, you'll get by on $800, $1,000 a month on food. Yeah. Okay. Now you got other incidental expenses. Are you renting a car? Are you taking buses and taxis? You're going to spend money wanting to see Israel, probably. What are you going to do for a phone? You're going to have to buy prepaid. You're going to want internet minutes, wireless. And, I mean, it is what it is. You could stay in Eilat, although that's where the Houthis tend to fire missiles. Eilat has got very hot weather in the summer, so you'd be good in Eilat until late May, and then it would be in the 103, 105, 108, not so nice. Jerusalem is 2,500 foot altitude, so in the hot weather, which starts in late May, it's a good 10, 15 degrees cooler in Jerusalem, so it's nicer. Very expensive. You're not going to make Jerusalem on 1,500 to 2,000. You're going to make it probably on 3,000 plus food, plus this, plus, Okay? Tel Aviv, just like Jerusalem. There's a city called Nahariya, 7 miles from the Lebanon border. That's dangerous. It's probably beautiful beach on the Mediterranean and reasonably priced. Probably 2,000, 2,500 would get you a furnished place. See, an unfurnished place you can get cheaper, but the electric company's not going to turn your electricity on as a foreigner, nor is the water company. It'd be very burdensome for you to get that done. So the landlord needs to keep that in his name, right? Okay? And then you could go buy furniture, but you're only here on a 3-month visa, and it's conceivable you might have to leave and they won't renew your visa. They probably will because tourism is low, but I don't know that. And I can't tell you they will. I would guess they would. As a fallback, you go out for 10 or 15 days. You could get cheap flights to Italy or Romania, get some housing up there, see the country. There's nothing to really see in Romania, but Italy there is. Italy's 2.5-hour flight. There's nothing in Romania, nothing to do. I mean, it's quaint and old, but nothing. I've been there, and nothing. It's a big nothing. Italy would be interesting. So you could tour Italy on buses and bang around Italy for 2 weeks and then just come back to Israel and see what they tell you. They might say, why'd you come back so soon? Or they may completely ignore it and just let you pass in. Now, if you're from Europe, you got a problem because Europe lets Israelis in for 90 days and then you have to leave for 90 days. Okay, then you can come back in for 90 and leave for 90. That's European Union. The UK left the European Union, and I don't know what their policy is towards Israelis. Whatever their policy is towards Israelis is likely what the Israelis do to somebody from the UK. So you might be able to renew your visa after 90 days if you're on a UK passport without having to go away for 90 days. But if you're from European Union, no, you're going to have to go away for 90 days. Staying here illegally is nothing I suggest you do at all, ever. America, and Canada got a pretty darn good chance of getting it renewed, okay? Immediate, like in the country. Like when you're, let's say on your 90 days, you're on day 70 or 65, or wait 2 weeks before, and you go to the, it's called Mishrat Hapanim, population control. I don't know what they call it in English, but and you go in and see them. They speak English, and tell them you'd like to renew it for another 90 days, and they may just say, fine, you got to pay so much, and pay them in cash, and then they stamp it and put it in the computer, and you're done. Or they might say, I can give you 30 days or 60 days, or I don't know, maybe they give you 6 months. I don't think so. But they might give you another 90 days, and then after that, so prophetic time clock, let's look. So let's say we're talking April. So you got April, May, June. Well, you're pretty close. Maybe the year of redemption doesn't happen till July. I think it's going to be sooner, but I don't know. So, that's it. But pray about it and wait to get orders from the Lord. Remember, we're soldiers in God's army. And when we have no marching orders, we stand. We don't make our own marching. Soldiers don't say, well, we're going to go here. So be careful with this. You could have a disaster here in Israel, okay? And have to go home, lose a lot of money, and you don't want that. So pray. Is it possible that some of you will come? I think so. I think you could. Elijah's going to need help, and Apostle John. So who has the true gospel? So that's really my take on that. So yeah, if you want to come, you can come. But, you know, you got barriers. First, there's an economic barrier, and don't take that lightly. Okay? And if you go scour around on the internet and you find some cheap place to live, you better be careful. It could be an Arab place. It could be in a bad Arab town, village, or city. You got to be very careful. Okay? There's not a ton of furnished housing floating around Israel. You might find something in my village, but I wouldn't bet on it. But what you can do is contact Airbnbs and see if they want to do a long-term deal with you by the month. But remember, a lot of these places by the day go for $200-300 a day. So they might say, yeah, I'll go down to $3,000 a month. See what I'm saying? Then you say, well, I'll give you $2. They might take it because there's no tourists coming. Better to have some cash flow than no cash flow. All right, so I'm Moshe. Please pray for me and my wife, Rivka. Remember, she's traveling, traveler's prayer. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy. Pray for our healing. Pray for our finances. Pray we raise enough money to get more electrical devices for the broadcasts. This is working out okay, except they can't do the Bible studies like I can with an iPad. The little phone it doesn't have eSword, and then pray for our animals and pets, which are all rescues, that they be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for better videos. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And I'm out.